Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Ooh, let's try not to hiccup. My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always. What's poppin', Ricardo?
What's cracking, bro?
What's cracking? The Patriots 54-point victory. That's what's cracking.
That is what's up.
Yeah. Patriots fans. You know, it's actually kind of funny. Maybe I should wait later in the show to say this because everyone who's not a Patriots fan is just clicking out because it's like, you know, bragging. But you know the Patriots are doing okay, at least at quarterback, when everyone on Twitter is absolutely destroying anybody who likes Mac Jones. It's like everyone attacks him, and it's just all of them mentally realizing that Mac Jones might be a good quarterback for the Patriots, and if he is, they might have to deal with us for longer.
Deal with it again, yeah.
Either way, you still got to deal with Brady.
Yeah.
Can't lose him.
Tommy boy.
Yeah. Anyway, so today we have waiver wire for Week 8. We're going to break down some guys you should pick up for this week as bye weeks continue and as the season moves along. Very interesting week in the NFL. But anyway, before we jump into all of that stuff, check our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all them places. Just hit us up. And then if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, just hop down below, pause the pod, and share a review. And then leave a review, and then share this podcast. Hit one of those share buttons somewhere on your podcast platform, and just send it to a friend and say, listen, you need to listen to this podcast. It'll make you better, even though I don't want it. So
right. Maybe be like, hey, they're like, why are you so good? And you can be like, well, there's this podcast list.
Yeah.
And then there you go.
Yeah. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, and comment down below any questions about the waiver wire you may or may not have for this week. Any thoughts on the week, Rick?
No, it was an injury-riddled week for sure. With all the buys and stuff, it's kind of tough.
It's been bad.
Is Tom Brady really ever going to fall off a cliff? Had another 4 touchdowns.
I was
this
talking about that this week, and I was like, you know,
he's
every time he sets a goal for himself, he reaches it, right? When he was 40, he was talking about playing until he's 45. He's 44 right now. Next season's 45 season. So it's like, okay, Brady retires after his 40. No, he's decided now that he could play till he's 50.
Another thing, do we want to talk about the Chiefs at all? 3-4.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I saw a picture online. You know, remember when Patrick Mahomes this offseason got engaged?
Oh, yeah.
Ever since that
I know
moment,
this. I
saved that.
saw that.
I was going to post it on the Fantasy Champions account because I thought it was hilarious. I don't know. You know what's happening? Mahomes has thrown a lot of picks this year, regardless of whether they were his fault or not.
Yep.
And from what
and a lot of them are. I mean, not all of them, but there have been a decent amount that was his fault.
Right. But from what I've heard, is it looks like he's too scared to make another mistake right now. So he's playing,
which is not how he plays.
Which is not how he plays. When he's at his best, when he's slinging it, like running out of the pocket, you know, trying to make plays, doing his thing. And right now he's trying not to do that. And it's not working. It's not working for him. The Chiefs will be fine. They'll make the playoffs. I heard some people talking about they might not make the playoffs. I'm like,
they'll be fine.
Idiots. You telling me that the Chiefs can't win 10 straight games? And please, they almost went undefeated last year. I do think the Buccaneers may have put together a plan in the Super Bowl that has somehow contained Patrick Mahomes in that offense. Really, I don't love Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes is a ridiculously talented and good player, but I think a lot of the Chiefs' offense and a lot of what Mahomes does is predicated on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And when you start taking one of those guys out of the plan,
they don't really have a third option either.
And we can keep pretending that Allen Robinson or somebody's going to get traded there. It's not going to happen. They don't have enough money for that.
I mean, Juju
they're paying
had a
Mahomes
contract
a sixth
offer
of
that he
their
could have
freaking cap.
taken.
Juju? Oh, I mean, they
Yeah.
would have definitely taken Juju. That's an affordable guy. He's going to be even cheaper this year. But
I mean, who knows? 2022.
I don't know what's happening to the Chiefs. And everyone, you can't blame it on a backup quarterback going in because of a concussion, because 3 of those quarters the Chiefs didn't score a point, touchdown-wise. So, or didn't score a touchdown, I should say.
Right.
So I don't know. I love it. Honestly, it's great. The parody, Arizona Cardinals.
It is nice.
It's nice not to be like, because Mahomes was starting to look like it was going to be like, I love the Patriots, but as a football fan outside of that, it was looking like Mahomes was going to be the next dynasty, and everyone likes it now, but wait 10 years from now when he's been in 5 straight Super Bowls, and you're all like, oh, God, I can't stand this guy anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I just decided to not like him now.
7 weeks into the season, who's the Super Bowl favorite for the AFC?
I would say 2 weeks ago it was the Chargers for me.
Yep.
I don't know about that anymore. I'm gonna because there's a bunch of 5-2 teams, right?
Yeah.
Let me pull up the AFC standing so I can speak intelligently.
The Bengals are first in the AFC North.
I would say honestly, I was watching I was freaking watching the what is it? The Bengals game on Sunday, and I was literally sitting there going, I want this team to be good so bad.
I do too. I don't think they're
Burrow.
Actually that good yet, though. I think they're better than people give them credit for in the beginning of the year, and they're a good team, but I don't think they're like Super Bowl team.
Honestly, if we're being legitimately honest, if the Chiefs are really not this good,
yeah,
it's probably going to be the Bills and the Bills or the Ravens.
Yeah, I would have guessed. I would say Bills too. I think a team that might go under the radar because they've been battling a lot of injuries, but I think the Browns are still a good team. I mean, Baker's got to figure it out though, but when they're fully healthy, at least they're up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say the Bills too.
I'm rooting for the Bengals though. They make it out of this conference and they go for a chip. I love
I'm even kind of rooting for the Raiders. I don't know why.
You just secretly
just because they've been so bad. And with the John Gruden
I saw a beat reporter for the Lions say that there's a legitimate argument you can make about them being 5-1.
It's because they've been in they've had so many like one score losses. I know, but it's like the same thing as Patriots fans, I know. Saying
it's
it
honestly
could be 5-2.
Either way. So yeah, the NFL season's been interesting. We should in week 8 or 9, the halfway point, go through a conversation about halfway through the season and the waiver. I mean, not the waiver wire. The what's going on in fantasy, because there's some weird stuff. Rick told me before the show. 7 weeks in, Dalton Schultz. You had a bye week still. Tight end 15. I mean, tight end 5-ish.
10-5, yeah, with a bye week.
But either way, let's jump into our waiver wire because that's what we're here to talk. That's what we're here to talk about. We're going to try to expediently go through each one of these guys. Because usually we spend way too long on it. I'd love this show to be 20 minutes. And I'm sure people listening would love this show to be 20 minutes as well. But anyway, so let's start with the quarterback position. I believe Trevor Lawrence's bye week was this week. And he has actually shown, everyone's talking about Mac Jones as so far this season has been the best quarterback in the class. Not saying he's going to end up being that, but he's been playing he's been playing the best out of the rookie quarterbacks. But Trevor Lawrence is not too far behind him. Without the turnovers in the first couple games, he would be ridiculously good. Now, he's had some good games and some bad games. This kind of reminds me of Joe Burrow's rookie season last year, fantasy-wise, where he was like getting 25, and then he got 17, and then he got 10, and then he got 3, and it was just like, okay, what are you actually going to... You wanted to start Burrow, but you just couldn't because it was like, is this guy going to be consistent? The question is, do we pick up Trevor Lawrence here for week 8 against Seattle?
It's hard to rely on Trevor Lawrence for fantasy, but it's a good matchup. I think if with even more bye weeks and quarterback injuries and everything. I think he should definitely be in consideration because he's probably going to be like a top 15, top 16 quarterback this week.
That's fair.
So yeah, I mean, if you need a quarterback, he's definitely on the list. I don't know if he'd be my top option though, but yeah.
Okay. I think what people are kind of looking at is there's some games down the stretch that are a little bit easier.
Houston Jets, week 15, 16.
Yeah. I mean, not that he did good. I see. It's like against Houston and Tennessee, he did 25 and 23 so far this year. So maybe
I mean you're looking at the 6-point touchdown.
Are you kidding
me?
Per
usual.
Am I really doing that?
Yeah, you are.
See,
the league is so messed up.
Touchdown, by the way. So screw you.
Oh, okay, whatever.
So Trevor, but anyway, Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm running out to grab him, and I don't know if he's like a fantastic streaming option for this week.
He's not bad.
It's just
not
inconsistent.
Bad,
like even against a good matchup, like last week against Miami, he had 15 points in London, and that might be because they were in London. But it's like so far this year against easy matchups, he's had 22, 22, and 15. And there's only like 4, maybe 5 easier matchups for him on the season. So I don't know even if it's a long like play, but I mean, whatever floats your rocker, I guess. I'm not really excited about T-Law. Daniel Jones, I really don't want to talk about Daniel Jones again. And you know, he's starting to become the quarterback version of Chris Herndon for me and Rick a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Because he's on this list every week and his own percentage never changes, but he still blows.
He was also he was also our sit of the week, but he actually played okay. It was right for fantasy though, because he only had 17 points, so it wasn't like he did great. Mm-hmm. But he won the game and he like made plays at the end of the game to win the game. So I was like, every week you get something new with Danny Dimes.
It's true.
I don't know.
It's true. I just wish he did one thing, and that was bring fantasy victories.
Yeah.
When you actually start him.
Would you play him against the Chiefs though, with potentially his receivers coming back?
Oh God, that's so tempting. Against easy matchups this year, he has 29, 16, 4, and 17.
Was the 4 of the game he got injured? Okay, it was. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that one out. So 17, 16, and 29. See, I don't know. I don't know what Danny Dimes, because he'll have a game against Denver and a game against New Orleans where he's got a tough matchup and he goes 21 and 27, and then he has an easy game against Atlanta and an easy game against Carolina against quarterbacks so far this year, and he scores 16 points. It's like, what are you actually going to do, Daniel Jones?
I know it's so weird with him.
Honestly, if you need a start, this week against KC is probably the best thing you're going to get.
Would you do Trevor Lawrence or Daniel Jones?
Oh,
this
God. Week? I would have to say Danny Dimes.
Me too.
Okay. Surprisingly enough, I wanted to touch on this. Mac Jones had 22 fantasy points, I want to say.
I think 22, yeah. 22.
And it wasn't until this week that I started realizing that maybe Mac Jones can have some fantasy relevance, because I just wrote him off altogether. For this year, hell no.
Like when you roasted me for taking him in the second round of a Superflex rookie draft?
Bro, I wanted Mac Jones. That's why I roasted you.
No, you were like, he's not going to do anything fantasy-wise.
Shut up. Anyway, so no, I mean, for him this year, he's had 15, 14, 17, 12, 15, and then he had a 22-point game. Really, for him, it's gonna be like the 2 touchdowns is doable for him on a week-to-week basis, especially against easier matchups. But the question is, can he hit 307 yards on a weekly basis? Or not 307 precisely, but 300 plus, because that's where
19 rushing yards.
Well, yeah,
that's an
a
extra
whole other conversation.
2 fantasy points.
So as far as like where I would, slot Mac Jones in at this point, he's a fine for a super flex league. Like if you're in a super flex league and you need a guy for your super flex slot, I think he would get the job done for the most part.
But in a one quarterback
redraft, just no.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe against like a real easy matchup, but I don't
even then I'd be nervous.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's too much. We had a guy in our league that just randomly like started him. Scores the most fantasy points of his life.
of course.
And then the only other guy that I wanted to touch on, and then you can reference anybody that you think is streamable this week, Rick, but is Desean Watson. And this week has been a really strange week. There was a report that he was going to get traded to Miami, and then there was a report that said he wasn't going to get traded to Miami, and nothing was done, and they weren't even close. And then there was another report that came out that said he was going to Miami, and that they were trading Tua to the Washington football team, and among other things. And it's just all a clusterfuck of a week, and we still don't know what's going on. But some people have ran out and picked up Desean Watson. Now he's not going to play this week, but even if he gets traded, like tomorrow, he's still not going to play this week. That's a given to me. I don't even know that he's going to play the rest of the season, because as soon as this guy gets traded, the NFL is going to come down with some kind of like suspension or something like that. Mm-hmm. But are you interested in picking up Desean Watson rest of the season?
It's kind of
I picked him up for 1 second because I thought he was actually traded.
Yeah, and then you drop. See, that's the thing. Like, if he gets traded to the Dolphins, like in the next couple minutes, or the Washington football team, or the Broncos, or the Panthers, whatever, then yeah, I think you would. But as long as he's not on a team, I don't know. It's kind of in a one quarterback league.
He's not playing on that team.
Yeah.
I agree.
Kind of gross.
Any other quarterbacks?
I was looking at the list here. Kirk Cousins is playing Dallas. That's an interesting one. It's so gross because of how bad he's been, but Darnold against the Falcons could be a bounce back week, but he has without McCaffrey, with and without McCaffrey, his numbers are actually insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Not in a good way.
No, not at all.
Yeah, maybe Carson Wentz plays the Titans. That's not awful, but there's nothing that really catches my eye. So
okay, let's move on to the running back position on the week. There's some interesting guys. I love that the list is shorter at this time of year.
I know,
so it's not absolutely disgusting. But let's jump in, talk a little bit about this. Miles Sanders is out, and with that being said, for the most, I'm making the assumption that he's out. They said he has a severe high ankle sprain, so that
sounds like a 6-week injury, doesn't it?
Yeah, sounds like a 6-week injury. Oh, excuse me. But anyway, Kenny Gainwell is the guy, I think, sitting behind Miles Sanders, waiting for the work. And I think that if you have him rostered, that's fantastic. If you don't, I would go pick him up. He has shown signs in the passing game where he kind of looks... Miles Sanders was supposed to be a ridiculously good pass-catching back. And he really has been inconsistent at best pass catching in the NFL so far. Kenneth Gainwell has actually showed some really good receiving chops. So I would say he's a great pickup. And I don't want to really buy too much into the Eagles offense right now because it really hasn't been that great. But if Kenneth Gainwell can get on the field, get a majority of the opportunities and do something with them, then honestly, I love Miles Sanders, but can he do any different than what Miles Sanders is doing right now?
On the ground?
Yeah, like can he either do the same or improve on what Miles Sanders is doing?
To be honest, on the ground, I don't think so. But the difference is it's because Miles Sanders, he's only getting 9 carries. He had 6 this week. He had 11 the week before, 7 and 2.
That's because you're getting.
So Gainwell's not getting 20 carries. But the thing with Gainwell is if he gets 10 carries for like 40 yards, and then he gets what he's doing in the receiving game, like 4 catches for 40 yards as well, then he's going to be a decent PPR option, half PPR. And then if he gets any touchdowns, which he has been this year, he has 3, which is, I think, 3 more than Miles Sanders. Then, he's going to be a good start week to week. He's going to be like an RB2. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely a good pickup. I do think it's important to note, though, how long Miles Sanders is out and keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
For when that report comes out, because if it's only like 2 or 3 weeks, I think it changes the game compared to like 6 or 7 weeks. Because if he's out like 6 weeks, then I think you put a good chunk of change on Gainwell on the waiver market.
Yeah, I would agree. And right now, I mean, it's a thirsty market for running backs, so it's probably going to cost you a penny.
Yeah, I'd agree.
We could transition right into Rashad Penny, if you would
nice. Nice, good job.
Take that right into to Rashad Penny. So Rashad Penny is essentially, I don't know what you want to call you would want to call him. Me and Rick have been going back and forth. Obviously, this is recorded on Monday, so Monday Night Football is going to happen tonight. We're going to find out who actually is the lead back for Seattle. But there has been a lot of conversation about who is the number one guy. I think Collins is playing on Monday night, right?
Yeah, it's so gross. They have Collins, Penny, DJ Dallas, Travis Homer all playing.
Oh, good.
4 running backs.
So Penny is their number 2 guy, and Collins has been playing really well. So I would think this is a split scenario, but if something big happens on Monday night and Penny goes off, this is a guy that you need to get on your teams. You should have already picked him up last week when we found out that he was going to play on Monday night. That should have already been a thing. But if people have not picked him up in your league, I would pick up Penny right now.
Yeah, he should 100% be on your team. Chris Carson is on IR, and it could be a Michael Thomas situation with him too, where there's been reports about his neck and like it's an actual problem. Like it's a serious injury. So if he misses any time, it's just Penny and Collins, and they might split, but the Seahawks typically don't. They like to have one guy carry majority of the work, and they just ride the hot hand. Penny has a real chance to take this backfield. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, we pre-recorded this show on Monday, so he already played. We'll see how he does.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There has been reports of trade deadline talks of Marlon Mack moving from Indianapolis to somewhere. I don't think that there's going to be a midseason move of Marlon Mack. The only place that I could see is maybe Baltimore, because their attack is heavily predicated on the run, and they need a running back who can run the ball effectively, and I think Marlon Mack can still do that. But there's been rumors about the Indianapolis Colts trading Marlon Mack to some other football team. They're probably just going to get scraps for him, so I don't even know what the point of that would be. But people have talked about that and another running back being on the market. If this guy goes somewhere else, say Baltimore, is he a guy that you want to pick up and roster before that happens?
Yeah, I mean, he would be worth a pickup, but I'm not picking him up until he gets traded. You know?
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And then outside of that, I don't really, unless you want to jump on Brady.
No, I think that's probably it. Brandon Bolden, bro.
You want to snag Brandon Bolden. Go get that guy. And then
he's the James White role. That's what he's playing.
He'll be inactive next week.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Let's jump into the wide receiver position. Michael Gallup's coming back from injury. We talked about him last week. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on him, Rick, but I would pick up Michael Gallup now.
He should be owned. 100% should be owned, yeah.
Laviska Shenault. I think he was a casualty. He was a casualty in our league, one of our leagues, of bye weeks and having a short bench in some of these redraft leagues.
Oh, yeah.
So Shenault is a guy that I would pick up this week because he's coming off that bye, and I think he actually has a good shot rest of season to have some success. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that.
I agree, but it's still kind of gross the way he's played. And not all of it is his fault. It's also the way he's been utilized. But yeah, he should still be owned though in leagues. Like he should still at least be on your bench.
Yeah. Definitely. I was gonna say Rashad Bateman has played 2 games now, and people are like, "Oh, Bateman's so good," and I'm like, "Okay, I agree. I love Bateman, but can we relax for 5 seconds? His catch rate's like freaking 40%."
That's not entirely his fault, but yes, you are correct.
Like the other thing is, like I was talking to somebody on Sunday who has Bateman on their team, and they're like, "Oh, who knows?" And somebody offered, what was it? it was Rashad Bateman for like an established wide receiver, and I can't remember who it was, but they rejected it.
Okay.
And I was like, why would you reject
Was it a
that
home
for
league?
Rashad Bateman? What?
Was it our home league?
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked about Bateman to that guy, and he was like, "I'm not trading him." I'm like,
Yeah, no. So he's in on Bateman, and I'm like, okay. First off, they still don't, even though they've had a small uptick in passing, they still don't throw the football a lot. And Bateman has only been getting 5 targets a game.
He has 6 in both games.
Okay, so even at that, the role that he plays is not going to be conducive to a lot of fantasy output, at least in year 1.
Yeah,
And I could be wrong about that, but I just don't I don't see it with Bateman. He's coming off an injury as a rookie where he had to miss 7 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever.
I mean, I'm intrigued by him. I think he should be rostered as well, but I mean, that particular person has his hopes up, I think, for Bateman, because I think he's not putting up Jamar Chase numbers or anything like that.
No.
And I think he's clearly the number 2 option in the passing game, or number 3 behind Andrews and Hollywood Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So at 6 targets a game, he's not going to do anything crazy, but you could see a couple of weeks where he's gets like 10 fantasy points to 12 fantasy points and is a flex option on a week-to-week basis. So I don't hate Bateman. I think he should be owned. But for this year, yeah, I mean, I think he's probably has a ceiling.
Yeah, I agree. Green Bay, Thursday Night Football. What's his name? Devontae Adams is out with COVID. He's been on the COVID list. I don't know if he has COVID.
Adams is out with COVID?
He's going to be out, yeah. I don't know if he has COVID or he just got exposed or whatever.
Didn't he play this past week, or was it like today where he got COVID?
I don't think he has COVID. I think he's been exposed to it. I don't know. But he's on some form of a list. Google it. He's not playing this Thursday.
He tested positive today.
Okay, yeah. So he's out Thursday.
He's likely out.
Next man up is either Randall Cobb or Alan Lazard. So I would roster either one of those guys for the week, and you can drop them as soon as you find out whether Devontae Adams is in or out. This could be a Bob Tonyan week.
It could. He had a touchdown this week. 16 fantasy
could
points.
be a Bob Tonyan week. I don't know.
I think Lazard is the guy, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then, what do you have any thoughts on Will Fuller?
He has barely even played. I think he played in one game, and Tua wasn't even. It was a Jacoby Brissett game, so he didn't really do much. But he had 6 targets, and then in the second game he got hurt. So yeah, we haven't even seen what he's done with Tua. I mean, he should be owned. He's another guy who should be owned in leagues. But don't get your expectations too high. But we'll see how it goes. I still want to see how he plays with Tua, though.
Okay. And then there's some other guys here. I don't really want to talk too much about them, but Russell Gage had a good week this week. Atlanta went back to what they know, and that's throwing the football a lot, and Russell Gage benefited. And then Darius Layton is meh.
Yeah, no, I'm not. No, Slayton should not be picked up. He was only playable this week because of the injuries to that receiving core.
Okay, let's talk about tight ends real fast. Bob Tonyan, pickup of the week.
Yeah, he
I
is.
gave my feelings a second ago. Love Bob. I feel like I'm going to talk about Tonyan a lot this week.
Honestly, worth it because he's coming off a 14.5-point week in half PPR.
Yikes.
16 in PPR.
There you go.
Thursday Night Football without Devontae Adams, top red zone target.
Maybe.
After 5 straight weeks of like 2 fantasy points.
Bro, I want to watch Thursday Night Football, and this is at least such a good game. Cardinals, Packers, we'll talk about it tomorrow, but I'm not looking forward to watching Rodgers for 3 hours.
Why do you hate Rodgers?
Me so far off. I used to be a big Rodgers guy, and he's just like, I can't stand him now.
That's insane.
Too much pride. Too much.
It's kind of funny.
Trash talking the Bears. That's like, did you hear about Bill Belichick on Sunday after the Jets win? He was caught drinking beers with somebody, like in the stadium.
Oh no!
The victory. It's almost as gross as that.
Yeah, and then they asked him what his favorite beer was, or he's like the cold one, as long as it's cold or whatever.
I'm like, he's still celebrating Jets wins.
I know.
It's like, yes, we know, Aaron Rodgers. You have beaten the Bears a lot. We get it. The Bears suck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any stake in the game, but that's real annoying.
It's kind of funny, but if I was a Bears fan, I would be so.
I'd be like, annoying. Okay, get over yourself, bro. You can't win a Super Bowl.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyway, any more tight ends you want to talk about?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. There you go. Waiver wires, week 8. Can't believe it's already week 8 of the NFL season. If you do a 14-week regular season and then weeks, 15, 16, and 17 for your playoffs, you have halfway point your fantasy season. It's time to buckle down. Time to get you to the playoffs. Get some wins. See you tomorrow, guys.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.